Thank you for watching this third video. It's probably optional. I hope it is because this probably won't make sense to most of you. But I'm going to try my best to explain what's going on within the actual code. I'm not going to go in depth because there's no point. Um, you can always just ask chat what's going on. I'm just going to go over briefly like the architecture. It's fairly standard. Um, But you would have to have experience in Python and maybe building Flask apps to know what's going on. Or if you just have computer science experience, you'll probably get it. It's not that hard. So I will start by sharing this. This was from my last explanation. Might as well use it. So HTML files are basically information for what goes on the page, like what text and where certain things should be. Like the forms are just going to be like those blocks where it says, do you want to input files? Next, CSS is just styling, right? So that's just going to be stuff like, what do you call it? Just the colors, the fonts, and a couple animations. Like whenever you're hovering over certain blocks, you know how it turns like a different shade of like blue and purple? That's the CSS. JavaScript, all it does is toggle sidebar and it does the animation of the atom when you do the first step. It's entirely like just for looks, it doesn't add anything. Okay, so from there on, my original plan was to kind of go over the different steps in the code or in the website, like the first one where it combines the three files, and the second one where it takes the data and the validated data to create MetaboAnalyst format. But the truth is, if you want any shot at understanding that, the only way you're going to be able to get it is by doing it manually. And once you do it manually, you'll kind of have an idea of what the process is for it, if that makes sense. Um, because I can sit here and show you all the code and what every line does, but that won't give you an intuitive understanding of what's happening. Um, so what I think I'll do instead is just kind of give you a tour of the code base and let you check it out on your own. So um, let me expand this. I'm just going to show the files right now. That's what's important, not the actual code. So in static is just going to be where our CSS and JavaScript is. This is the one compound that like makes up the background of the entire website. I colored it myself. Yeah. Next, templates. This is just going to be the HTML for every different thing. Then I have test files and tests. So the tests use the test files to make sure that everything still works. You can just run commands in the terminal, like I think it's like pytest space dot slash tests, and it'll run all the tests. I could be completely wrong, but I think that's the command. This is important for like future development if you want to create new tests to see if your new functions work, and it's a good way to like see if everything previously still works um, without having to manually test everything. It's a good option. Don't worry about uploads. That's just whenever you upload files, it just ends up in here. It should get cleaned up on its own on the actual website. Then we have the main app, um, and we have a couple other Python files. I'm not going to go over them. What is the README? Hopefully it's not too bad. Sorry, it probably is. Don't worry about the README. Okay, so then let me talk about Docker. So if you're not familiar with what Docker is, the problem is if you are familiar with what Docker is, my explanation is going to be horrible, so don't hate me. Um, Essentially, Docker is a way to take your code and make it something that's runnable on any device. I'm not going to try to explain it anymore. I don't understand a ton about it. But any device that has Docker installed, not any device. It won't run on a mouse. But if you take this, right, and you use your build Docker, right? So what you would do is just go in your terminal and just run the build Docker command. Um, I think this might work for Windows, but I'm not sure. I would check that out. Now that I look at it, I don't think it will. So if you're on Windows, figure out how to run it. So I have a build Docker file, and then a run test script. Yeah, it was PyTest tests. I don't know where I'm going with this. See, the problem here is I have no idea what you might want out of this explanation. So I'm going to say that the only way you'll get here is like iteratively working through a bunch of little processes and adding to them over time. Uh, so if you want the original like Python notebooks where I started to write some of this code, let me know. I can send it to you through my email, which I will write again. And I don't know. I guess real quick, I'll just show you the GitHub. It's going to be on the website. It'll always be at this bottom thing. You can just go to the GitHub. That's me, and that's the repo. All of the code will be in there. It'll always be open source. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, no, this video is useless. I'm not even gonna act like it was useful. So just email me if you have questions. I'm gonna stop here.